Hello, my name is Siobhan Cashman. I'm one of the guidance counsellors in St. Coleman's Community College in Midleton. This is a presentation for the parents of sixth year pupils to outline to you the dates and deadlines that are ahead for them this year in terms of where they want to go after their Leaving Cert. This presentation was put together by myself and Joanne Murphy, who's the other guidance counsellor in St. Coleman's. If at any stage during this presentation you have questions for us, please know that you can email the guidance counsellors scashman@colemans.ie or jmurphy@colemans.ie. We'll begin the presentation now. This National Framework of Qualifications is just to give you an indication of where your son or daughter is at the moment. As you can see, if they're doing the Leaving Certificate, they're at level 4 or level 5 in the National Framework of Qualifications. The reason that this framework was brought about was because Leaving Certificate is solely an Irish phenomenon. You can't do your Leaving Certificate exam in any other country in the world. So to internationally standardise our Leaving Certificate against other exams in other countries, we've come up with this National Framework of Qualifications. As you can see, your son or daughter has already got their level 3 qualification, that is the junior certificate. Here in Ireland, we don't do official level 1 or level 2 exams, but they do them in other countries, and that's why the levels are there on the framework. So your son or daughter is at level 4 or level 5 of the framework at the moment. And after that, they can go on to level 6, which is a higher certificate, level 7, which is an ordinary bachelor degree, or level 8, which is an honours bachelor degree. You can, as you can see from the framework, go on to level 9, which is a master's, or level 10, which is a doctorate or a PhD. But you, for the purposes of this presentation, you can't go directly from your Leaving Cert into level 9 or level 10. You have to go through the level 6, 7 and 8 route. So I'm not going to be talking about level 9 and level 10, but just for you to know that they are possible as well. So at the moment, your son or daughter is at level 4 or level 5, and they can go on to level 6, level 7 and level 8 after school if they so wish. Just to put this into context for you, the Leaving Certificate, as I said, your son or daughter will have 5, 6, 7, however many subjects they're doing at Leaving Cert level, at level 5 level when they're finished. So if they decide to travel abroad or if they decide to further their education abroad, they will be able to say they have English at level 5, they have biology at level 5, and so on. It is possible to do other subjects at level 5 that are not part of the secondary school curriculum. For example, it's possible to do childcare at level 5, it's possible to do horticulture at level 5, and so on. So there are other level 5 qualifications they can get, which are the equivalent of the Leaving Certificate in those other subjects. After Leaving Certificate, you can go into a level 6, a higher certificate. In the old days, when I did my Leaving Cert, that used to be called a cert or a certificate. So you'd get a cert after 2 years study after school. A bachelor degree used to be called a diploma. That generally takes 3 years. And an honours degree used to be called just a degree, and that generally takes 4 years. Now, they're not accumulative. You don't have to do 2 years for the higher certificate and then 3 years for the bachelor degree. It's 3 years altogether for the bachelor degree, the 2 years of the higher certificate and 1 additional year, which gets you the bachelor degree, and so on. So, if you wish to go on to higher education after school, then you apply through the CAO. I'm sure you've heard the CAO in the news and you'll hear your son or daughter talking about it, and we're certainly talking about it a lot to them. If you are considering going to college, this is how you apply. It is a central office to which you apply for whatever course you want to do in any higher education institute in the Republic of Ireland. That's any college, any university, or any institute of technology or technological university, as they are now called. The Central Statistics Office is literally a central office to which you apply for a course in Cork or a course in Dublin or wherever. You don't apply directly to the colleges. You do not use the CAO system for post-leaving cert colleges. That would be places like College of Commerce or St. John's or Coláiste Stefan Nefa in Cork's case. It's where you do PLC courses, and I'll be talking to you a little bit about them later on in this presentation, but the CAO is just for universities and institutes of technology. The thing with the CAO is that this is a national organization that organizes the applications to college. And because it's a national organization, there are set dates and set deadlines, and there is no getting around those set dates and deadlines. So it's very important that you be aware of those deadlines if your son or daughter is applying to college. We will be talking about this to them in school, but it's no harm for you to know as well, so that you can remind them of these dates and deadlines if it's necessary. You can apply from the 5th of November. You can start your application at that stage and submit your application at that stage if you so wish. The closing date for reduced fee applications is the 20th of January. If you apply before the 20th of January, the cost is €30. The closing date, the final closing date is the 1st of February. The cost is €45 before that date. The reason that there are two closing dates is simply because a lot of students, the vast majority of students, in fact, left it until the 1st of February to apply when that was the deadline. And the CAO online system couldn't cope with the pressure. There could be 70,000 people applying for college places. So to encourage as many of them as possible to apply before the 20th of January, they brought in the reduced fee applications. That's the one and only reason that there is a reduced fee deadline, the 20th of January. It's not, there is no way that a person is in any way advantaged by applying by that date. The actual closing date is the 1st of February, but they just brought in the reduced fee to reduce the pressure on the CAO webpage. You can change your course choices from the 5th of May to the 1st of July. So whatever courses you put down after the 5th of November, you can change your mind up until the 1st of July. Now, the 1st of July, as you will realize, is after the Leaving Cert. And so there is time for pupils to make course choice changes at that stage, even after they've done their exams, after they see how they've got on in the Leaving Cert. And the deadline for all course choice changes is the 1st of July. The only courses that this does not apply to are restricted courses. Restricted courses are courses for which there is an additional assessment procedure as well as the Leaving Cert. So that would be courses like medicine, drama courses, art courses, for which there would be an additional assessment procedure. For medicine, it's the HPAT exam. For drama and music courses, it would be an audition. And for art courses, it would be a portfolio. But there are only a limited number of what we call restricted courses, and you have to apply for them before the 1st of February. You can't add them in after the 5th of May because the assessment of the additional procedure that is needed for those courses would have taken place between the 1st of February and the 5th of May, so they can't be added in after the 1st of February. But all other courses, you can change your mind up until the 1st of July. If a pupil is applying for any course in college, there are two things you need. You need minimum entry requirements and you need points. We'll be talking about the points in a moment, but the minimum entry requirements are the first thing that you should consider if you're applying for a college place. Minimum entry requirements can be got from more than one sitting of the Leaving Cert, and they are generally easily achieved. For example, if you want to apply to an IT, an Institute of Technology, you have to pass English and you have to pass maths. Now, generally, if you're applying for college, you would have passed those anyway, because you need the points from them. But it's just a minimum entry requirement that you have to fulfill. And the difficulty with minimum entry requirements is that you can have as many points as it is possible to achieve in the Leaving Cert. And if you don't have the minimum entry requirements, you won't be offered the place, even if you have enough points or even if you have excess points. Generally, it's Pass English and Pass Maths, or an O6 for the ITs, the Institute of Technology. And for universities, it's Pass English, Pass Irish, Pass Maths, and Pass a Modern Language. In UCC, for example, there are some exceptions, like you do not need a modern foreign language if you're doing a science or an engineering course. You don't need to pass maths if you're doing an arts course. So there are some exceptions, but the reason that I have this slide here is because the student, your son or daughter, needs to check these things before they decide what course they're going to apply for. Not all courses require a pass in maths. Not all courses require a pass in our case, German or a modern foreign language. And so those things need to be checked out before they decide on what course to apply for. One thing that you need to consider is the minimum entry requirements is the first thing you need to consider. The second thing you need to consider is the points you would need. Unlike the minimum entry requirement, the points need to be got from one sitting of the Leaving Cert only. So you can't combine points from 2 sittings of the Leaving Cert. Points are counted from 6 subjects only. You do not have to count the points from your entry requirement subjects. So if, for example, a course required you to have Pass Maths for your Leaving Cert, you don't have to count the points you get from maths. You have to pass them to be offered a place, but the points can come from your other 6 subjects. In fact, the points come from your 6 best subjects. CAO award you the points based on the Leaving Cert results that they are given from the State Exams Commission. The points allocated for each grade are outlined in the pupil's journal, or they are here on, you can click on transition.ie there and it will give you the new point system, which was brought in 2017. The pupils are well aware of that system now, and their exams, their school tests have been marked and graded according to that grading system since they came into senior cycle. So the pupils will be well aware of it, but it is quite different from the old grading system and the old point system. So if you want to familiarize yourself with it, transition.ie is where you will get the information. So if you are making a CAO application, you can apply for up to 20 course choices. 10 on the level 8 list, that would be the honours degree list, and 10 on the level 7 list, which is the bachelor degree list, or in old days it used to be called the diploma list. And remember, it's quite possible to go from a level 7 to a level 8 using your exam results of your level 7, or from a level 6 to a level 7 and then on to a level 8 if your exam results allow you. The most important thing about your CAO application is that you state your choices in order of preference. You should not base your choices on how you think you're going to do in your Leaving Cert, or how you think the points are going to turn out next year, or how you think the points will compare to this year. This is particularly relevant at this time because for the last 2 years, the points for college courses have been very unpredictable, and therefore people have lost out on places because they didn't put down what they would really want to do. When you are filling in your CAO form, you should assume that points won't matter. So if points don't matter, what's the course that I want to do next September? And that should be your first choice. And the second choice should be, if I don't get that course that I put down at number 1, what's the next course that I would be happy to do? A lot of students get college places and they're not happy with what they put down at number 1 or number 2. And when you're offered what you get at number 1, it doesn't matter what's at number 2 or number 3 or number 10. CAO delete all that if they've offered you your first choice, number 1, because they presume what you put in at number 1 is what you want to do. So they take away number 2, number 3, number 4, and offer them to other people who would have put them down as number 1, because CAO are trying their best to fit everyone in to their first choice. Now, of course, that's not always possible, and they will offer you your second choice or your third choice if you don't get enough points for the first choice, and so on. But they will assume that you are putting things down in order of preference, so that's what you should do. Excuse me. You should also indicate on your CAO form if you are eligible for HEAR and DARE or the SUSI grant. Now, I'll explain all those things to you over the next few slides. But one thing that's very important is also, if you have an exemption from Irish, you need to indicate this on your CAO form. But that's not all you have to do if you have an exemption from Irish. You also have to notify the NUI, the National University of Ireland. They have a form that has to be filled in and signed by the school to say that you have an official exemption from Irish. So just like your exemption that was granted to you in primary school would be recognised by secondary school, an exemption that's granted by secondary school will be recognised by third level. But you have to inform the third level college of that exemption, and it has to be signed by the school. So not only have you to indicate it on your CAO form, but you also have to fill in a form and notify the NUI of that exemption. So if you are exempt from Irish, or if your son or daughter is exempt from Irish, please ask them to inform myself or Miss Murphy as soon as possible. These forms don't actually have to be in until next May, but we like to get moving on these things as early as possible so that we are prepared for before the deadline. SUSI is the grant system in Ireland, Student Universal Support in Ireland. If you require more information about that, a grant to a student going to third level is based on family income for the previous year. So if your son or daughter is going to college in September 2022, it will be based on your income for 2021. SUSI.ie will give you all the information that you will need on that. Now, as I said already, I'll explain HEAR and DARE to you now. The HEAR is a higher education access route, and the purpose of this HEAR scheme is to make access to education more equal to all. It applies to both UCC and MTU, Munster Technological University, formerly known as CIT. It offers reduced points places to students who qualify for HEAR. Now, I'll show you how you qualify later on, but each college has a reserved number of places to give eligible HEAR students at lower Leaving Cert points. So it means that if a course is 300 points and you qualify for a HEAR place, you might be offered the course if you don't quite get the 300 points, but you get 290 or 280. It is generally to encourage people who wouldn't normally go to third level to go to third level now. It's to increase equality across third level, so make it easier for people who wouldn't normally go to college to get to college and to be able to complete their course with additional help. So there is extra college support. There is an orientation week before they begin college to help them settle in. There is extra tuition or grinds for the pupils that qualify for the HEAR scheme. There are one-to-one meetings to support them along the way and social gatherings to ensure that they are integrated properly into college. And there is a limited number of extra financial assistance. Now, this isn't the grant. This is just for people who wouldn't normally go to college to encourage them to go to college. So how do you qualify for a HEAR scheme? You have to fulfill criteria number 1 and 2 others. Criteria number 1 is based on family income. So if you are from a family of 4 or less dependents, your income has to be below 45,790 for the year 2021. If you fulfill that requirement, you have to have 2 of the others that are listed there. Medical or GP visit card, means tested social welfare would have to be the main income into the house, and be from a socio-economic group that is not well represented in college. That would be mainly from semi-skilled or unskilled people, or people, parents who haven't been to college themselves. That would qualify you for the HEAR scheme. Attendance at a DEIS school. Now, all the pupils coming to our school would qualify for that because we are a DEIS school. And the last one is area profile. If you live in an area that is designated as disadvantaged or for whom there wouldn't be a high proportion of the residents attending college. If you think you qualify for the HEAR scheme, there's more information on the tab there at the bottom of the page. You can click on that, or you can speak to myself or Miss Murphy as soon as possible and we can get the ball rolling on that. Again, the closing date for these applications isn't until the 1st of March next year, but we just like to know who's eligible so that we can start the ball rolling and get moving on it, because the application does require a bit more work than just the normal CAO application. The other supplementary admission scheme is the DARE scheme. Disability Access Route to Education is what DARE stands for. And this is a reduced points scheme for school leavers with disabilities or diagnosed medical or learning conditions. There's a list of some of the examples of the criteria down there. Now, these are diagnosed conditions. They would have had to be diagnosed by a consultant or a psychologist or an occupational therapist or something like someone like that. And again, there's a little bit of paperwork that needs to go along with the CAO application. So if you think you are eligible for DARE, please let Miss Murphy or myself know as soon as possible, and we will start the procedure for those applications. Again, it's reduced points places, and there are separate places kept for people eligible for DARE as there are for HEAR, and so you could benefit from one of those places if you qualify. There will be separate information sessions for HEAR and DARE applicants. Now, as you can see from this slide, I don't have the dates for those yet. They haven't confirmed those dates from the colleges. I think they're awaiting the lifting of restrictions on the 22nd of October. But once we get those dates, I will put them into this presentation and we will be informing the pupils of them. That's one of the reasons why they need to tell us as soon as possible if they're HEAR or DARE eligible, so that we can inform them of those sessions. They're unlikely to be before Christmas. They'll probably be in early January, but we need to get those dates out to you as soon as we can. So please let us know if you're HEAR or DARE eligible. If you don't wish to apply to the CAO, there's also always the possibility of applying to a post-leaving cert college. In Cork, we have Cork College of Commerce, Coláiste Stéphane Éfa, and St. John's Central College. This is different to the CAO. You don't apply to the CAO for these colleges. You apply directly to the college itself. It's an online application system that opens after Christmas, and you can apply to the 3 colleges independently if you so wish. It doesn't cost anything to apply to the college, and the entry requirements are just 5 passes in your Leaving Cert or a pass in your Leaving Cert applied. Interviews are held in around Easter time, March of 2022, and it is possible to go from a level 5 or a level 6 course in a PLC onto a level 7 or a level 8 course in CIT or MTU. So progression to further education is possible. There is a huge selection of PLC courses. We have 3 excellent PLC colleges in Cork. And if you click on those links there, they will take you to the web pages, and you will see the vast array of college courses, PLC courses that are available to students. And we always advise that if a student is unsure what they want to do, or if they're particularly young and can't make up their mind, it's a good idea to do a 1-year course in these colleges, because you're not committing to a course that's too long, and it can give you an indication whether this is an area you want to progress in or not. So a PLC college is a very good way of breaking a person into further education, and they may wish to go on afterwards, or they may not. But they will have the knowledge of having done the course to know whether it suits them or not. Going to college is an expensive business. Now, as I mentioned already, students who are entitled to it will get a SUSI grant. That's a universal grant for any further education and all higher institutions. So a PLC courses or courses in UCC or MTU will qualify for a SUSI grant. It will open for applications March or April of next year. You can click on the link there to find out more information about it, but it is based on your income for 2021 when you're applying for it for 2022. And again, the figures are roughly the same as for the HERE application. So if your income is below 45,000, when you have up to 4 dependents, then you would qualify for a SUSI grant. Just so that you are aware, SUSI grant will pay your college registration fees, which are 3,000 a year. They're standard, they're 3,000 a year. And then it will give you an extra 3,000 a year paid in 9 monthly installments, approximately 750 euro a month for the 9 months that you are attending college. And a SUSI grant will be applicable for the whole 4 years or the 3 years or 2 or however many years you're doing your course for, you will get the grant for it. You will only get the grant once to do year 1, once to do year 2, and so on. So if you fail a year, or if you decide to do a second level 5 course, the second year you won't get a grant. You only get a grant as you're progressing through a college course. Just so that you understand some of the other costs that are involved, if you're going to UCC, students pay a capitation grant of 250 euro, which covers membership of the Students' Union of Ireland and membership of the Mardyke Arena, sports arena and gym. There will also be travel costs, accommodation costs, and I'm sure you're all aware that the accommodation costs are quite considerable at the moment if you have to live away from home, textbooks, laptop, and then the day-to-day expenses of travel, food, clothes, all that kind of thing would have to be taken into consideration as well. If you don't wish to go the further education or higher education route, there are alternatives. The first alternative, which is a very popular and certainly being promoted at the moment by government policy, is the apprenticeship route. In the past, we knew apprenticeships to be trade apprenticeships or craft apprenticeships, for example, plumbing, carpentry, mechanic, any of the building apprenticeships, and they're still the same. They're a 4-year apprenticeship program where you're working on the job for most of the time, and your training is done by SOLAS, So you'll get further information on that on solas.ie. The traditional trade or craft apprenticeships are still the same as they always were. But now they've added new professional apprenticeships that are sponsored by companies. They're in the area of auctioneering, accountancy, computers, engineering, pharmaceutical. And what happens here is, for example, a pharmaceutical company like Janssen would advertise a professional apprenticeship for, we'll say, a pharmacy technician. And they would be employed by Janssen, but it would be a 4-year training program. They would spend most of their time on the job. They would spend some of their time in training. And at the end of the 4 years, they would be a qualified, whatever trade that they had done, whatever apprenticeship they had done. And it would be very likely that the company would keep them on then to work for them in that qualification. So there are new professional apprenticeships, and there's further details on solas.ie if you require any more information about them. The Defence Forces and An Garda Síochána are other options straight after the Leaving Cert. The Defence Forces are currently recruiting for the Army, the Navy and the Air Corps. There is the regular Defence Forces and the cadetships. And St. Conan's has a proud tradition of a lot of our past pupils going towards the Defence Forces for careers. There is a bit of negative connotations about careers in the Defence Forces at the moment to do with pay and conditions, but the government is trying to rectify those things at the moment, so hopefully things will improve. In terms of An Garda Síochána, we would advise that the An Garda Síochána do not like taking students straight from school. They prefer people to have a bit of life experience before they apply, so generally they look for people to be 21, 22, that age group before they apply. So you can do something else, a college course, or work for a couple of years, and then apply for the Guards if that's what you want. But there's more information if you click on those tabs that are there. If you're considering applying to the UK, UCAS is the UK equivalent of the CAO. So if you're applying for a third level or higher education in the UK, UCAS is what you would use. The deadlines for the UK are slightly earlier than in Ireland. So please talk to Miss Murphy or myself if this is something you're considering. And please be aware that in England, certainly, some courses do have fees to their courses, and the fees generally are £9,000 sterling per year. So that is a consideration that you would have to give to some courses. If you require further information, click on the link below for ucas.com. But please do let us know early, because the application form for the UK is quite different to the Irish CAO system, and we would need to be working on that with you as soon as possible. The good news is that Brexit didn't have the impact on college applications that we thought it might. So Irish students are still eligible to apply to the UK, just like UK students are still eligible to apply here. The dates on this are provisional at the moment. Okay, a lot of colleges had organised online open days. And now they're saying that due to the lifting of restrictions on the 22nd of October, that they might have actual open days later on in the term or even after Christmas. So please keep an eye on this page, because we will be changing the dates as we get informed of them, and we will be informing the pupils as well throughout their classes, through their careers classes, and also on Schoolwise or on Google Classroom. So at the moment, they're the dates that are available to us, but they will be changing, or additional dates will be added. Some of them are the online ones, for example, plan on having an actual one as well. So we will let you know as soon as we know. Just so as you know, the events organised in the school for sixth years comprise of the following. Each sixth year will have at least one individual career interview with myself or Miss Murphy. And this is just to check where they're at and check where they're going. In most cases, one interview is not enough. We would have to meet with them 2 or 3 times during the year to make sure that they're on track for whatever it is that they wanted to do. But they will have their initial interview in the next few weeks. And that's where we will get an idea of what they're thinking of and what we can advise them to do. Also in the school, we have a College Awareness Week. During this week, we will be outlining different possibilities to them. We will hopefully have a careers exhibition in the school. Now, we couldn't have that last year or the year before because of COVID, but we're hoping we will be able to have one this year, where we will get the local colleges and the colleges in Cork to come down to the school so that pupils can ask them questions and find out any information that they wish to have. The guidance page on the St. Coleman's website is updated regularly. You'll find the guidance page under the second level tab, and guidance is down at the very bottom of the second level tab. We will be updating that page regularly, as we will be updating this presentation, because as I said already, some of the days and dates will change and some of the information will change. If you have any queries, please email careerguidance@colemans.ie. Either myself or Miss Murphy, Joanne Murphy, will reply to you as soon as possible. If you email careerguidance@colemans.ie, or the pupils themselves will probably email us directly, scashman@colemans.ie or jmurphy@colemans.ie. Last but by no means least, don't panic. No final decisions have to be made immediately. We're not under any immediate pressure. I won't be saying that to you on the 30th of January next year, but at the moment we can say it. There are numerous routes into each career now. No decisions have to be made today. If you think about it, really, we're asking 17-year-olds to make decisions that could impact on them for the next few years, and sometimes they're just not ready. And that's okay, because now there are numerous routes into each career. Statistics show us that young people leaving school this year will have between 4 and 11 careers in their working lives. So what we are looking for really is to get them on the first step of the ladder. They're not going to stay in the same job. Unlike when we left school and you were told to get a job, hang on to it for 40 years and then retire, they'll be getting a job, working in it for 50 or 55 years probably, but changing careers, retraining, upskilling, contract work, all those kind of things that weren't heard of when we were leaving school. They're now part of a student's working life. So all you're looking for is to get them on the first step of the ladder, and after that, they can make the correct choices for themselves. The points they get from their Leaving Cert this year will be of use to them until the age of 23. So even if they don't want to apply for college this year, they can apply for college next year or in any year up to the age of 23. After 23, then there are lots of other access routes to further education for mature students. Once you're over 23, you're considered a mature student. So there's lots of other access routes. So it's not the end of the world if they choose not to go to college this year. In fact, further and higher education is not for everyone. There are a lot of very successful people in this world who have never gone to further or higher education, and they have got on just fine. So please be aware that there are numerous options for every student, and it's just about getting them to take the first step on the ladder. That's what this is about. I wish you the best of luck for this year. And as I said already, if you've any queries or questions, please just email us careerguidance@colemans.ie and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this was helpful. Take care.